Welcome back to Let's Grow Pulling. I'm your host, Logan Stevens. Hey, we're going to have a great show for you here tonight. We've got two awesome people here. We've got Lindsey Campbell and Randy Fishbaugh. Lindsey is one of the most highly highly esteemed mini rod people in my eyes. She's grown a program from just being in the diesel world and brought that all the way up to her very first Grand National win this weekend. And then we also have Randy Fishbaugh. He's the president of OSTPA and kind of the whole brains behind it. So we're going to bring him on and talk some Ohio State tractor pulling. But first, let's kick it off with Lindsey Campbell. And we're going to hear some about her backstory and then how she's gotten to where she is. So how's it going, Lindsey?
Good. How are you?
Oh, it's just another day in paradise.
I think it's more than just another day. I saw on Facebook it's somebody's birthday.
Oh, so. it might be someone's birthday around here. But hey, that's a little bit less important than someone's first Grand National win.
I don't know. I think you're going straight up there.
So, well, let's talk to it. So, diesel pullers most of your time. You own Chaos Chassis. You've lived and breathed the oil burning side, and then 2.5 years ago, just something clicked and you wanted to go make noise. So where do we get started here?
So I'll be digging in the archives just a little bit here. So years ago, just out of high school, I really liked dirt track racing and thought that was like the cat's meow. And then my friends got me involved in tractor pulling, and I was like, well, let's go see what this is about. And I mean, I'm telling you, I would eat, sleep, and breathe it just like I do today. But, you know, I would take all my vacation days off at work. I'd schedule it around tractor pulling. I used to salivate at the opportunity to sit. I was in the stands just hoping someday I could be a tractor puller. Like, that is always what I wanted to do. And did I ever think in a million years I want to be a mini rod puller? No, I really didn't. I actually used to think they were annoying, and I would go to the bathroom during that time, get something to drink. But I was always intrigued by it too. So I actually very briefly pulled a stock 4440 and a stock pickup back in the day. And I really thought I was something then. And, but I really loved horsepower, how things worked, like pushing it to the max, and about, 4 years ago, maybe, I said to Jeff Hurt, I said, just once, I want to pull one of these mini rods and get it out of my system. I said, I don't know why, but I just need to do it. So he's like, oh, okay. And he brought one to the shop to our test track. And I'm telling you, I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat for that whole week. I was such a ball of nerves. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then Kevin had me worked up. He's like, what if you break something? And then I'm like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. Maybe I shouldn't do this. So anyway, we just did a test pass, and I was like, so happy by the time we got done. And I was like, can we get one? And he's like, thanks, I think. So I thought I really did something on that test track, and I was only half throttle. And I really thought I was flying. So a lot has evolved since then. So we ended up then purchasing the Boyd family's Green Street Green. Jeff's Little Bear was Green Street Black. And so now I had like a connection with that. And we went out and met the Boyd family, purchased that. And I'm telling you, what a great relationship there. We developed a great relationship with them and Brian Knox and really believe in their program. And it's been a really good running machine. There was a huge learning curve, though, my first year. You go from a 4440 to an alcohol mini, night and day different. And the very first hook I was at was just to get some seat time. And we went to Ocala, Florida. And so everybody knows in January, it's not that nice out at night. It was actually 32 degrees. I did not prep for that. And I was freezing. And I watched Mary Kale come unhooked from the sled and do her flip over that you see on every TV show or every show, Wild Western rides. And I thought I was going to puke in my helmet. I was actually borrowing Jessica Hurt's helmet, and I had to tell her later I thought I was going to owe her a helmet. And then shortly after that, this poor gentleman that was unhooking the sled got hit by the scraper tractor. he got hauled off by ambulance. So I'm breathing really hard in my helmet, and I watched like this guy get hauled out. I was concerned about Mary, and I'm like, am I really doing the right thing here? Like, what am I doing? Like, is this asinine?
There's so many things that go through your mind.
Oh, everything went through my mind. I was like, what are you doing? So I was like, so I had a terrible hook. Once again, I half throttled it at best both nights, and I was like, I don't know. So I sat from January to May on what can I do different, and I will always evaluate myself. I will be my worst critic. So between then and May, we then went to Nashville to the Polaris Championship, and I decided that was the time I was going full throttle. And I'm going to tell you, that tractor went up and it just carried, and I was like, I don't know what just happened there, but like, this is great. So that was the start of, where we're at today. But the first year was like going out of bounds. And then I tipped in Farley. I tipped over. So I think I got a little too confident.
Yep.
But I think that had to humble me a little bit, and I think it really helped because I paid better attention to my setup then. We ran a high hitch. We ran new tires. Our pressures were probably wrong. We were still learning. And, most certainly like my driving, I came in hot, like that was a grippy track, a great track. And, but I think that my takeaway from that was like paying more attention to our setup. So from that point forward, I'd say the next 4 hooks after that, I was, it's very mental, not only is it just a driving, thing, it's very mental. And if you're not in the right frame of mind, as you probably know, like you're not going to do well if you already have, yourself defeated.
Correct.
So it took a lot to, really get focused. And then I'd say last year running NTPA with that group of people, they made me a better driver. They really made me the driver that I am today. And I'm truly thankful for that. You run with quote unquote the best of the best, and they're in every league. But seat time, I would say consistent seat time is what helped me a lot. And then, I think I finished like 11th in points last year. And I was sitting in the banquet. I was listening to Brian McDonald give a speech, and I watched him all year. And I'm an observer. I'm always watching like what people are doing. How long are you on the brakes? How hard are you hitting the throttle? I'm actually studying every other driver to see what I can do different. And Brian was very consistent, and he was kind of one of my takeaways from last year. And I'm like, I just want to do some solid A to B passes next year. So that brought me into this year. And I would say I think I was more focused than I've ever been. And I literally, this is no joke, when I say I think about pulling every day of my life, it is just that. It is every single day. Yeah. Like I think about it on Christmas. It doesn't matter. And I'm like I said, I'm my own worst critique. I'm always like watching videos. So if anybody takes videos of me, pictures of me, great, send them. I want all angles because I will watch it until I can't, and, I'll be like, well, maybe I should have hit the brakes sooner. Maybe I should have hit the throttle sooner. I try to like go back and reference from, the year before of like what were track conditions. And yes, the race pack can like keep track of that, but I'd have to do that. So videos on my phone are a lot easier. So, but yeah, I mean, I think all year I really wanted to feel what a win felt like. And I blew it off the track in Chapel Hill, and we were going to do a pull off, and then we got rained out. So, I missed out on an opportunity there, but can't control the weather. And what better place to get my first Grand National win than
the Enderly itself. Yeah, that's something. It's one of those places where there's been many people that have won championships, but to just go out and all out get your first win there, period, that's truly something special there.
Thank you. And it really was. And, I had a lot of family and friends there supporting me. Social media has been great. I mean, everybody's sharing it. Every time I sign into Facebook right now, I'm watching my run. I'm truly, truly thankful for that. And I'm thankful for all my competitors, which are also my friends that have helped me. And, they give pointers too. Like, we're not secretive. We're not, I mean, we all give out pointers because nobody wants to see anybody get hurt or, watch their stuff blow up. Like, nobody wants to see that. So I will say, like, everybody's been nothing but wonderful, and I'm truly thankful. And I think I found my niche, and, the days of salivating in the stands are over. But I will say, I kind of miss actually watching a poll. I never get back up and watch the poll. So my husband and I usually watch it on TV afterwards.
No, very much so. I've always called polling a big family, and it's all those people wanting to see each other do the best they can. But once that hook drops, then it's the competition. But getting every puller to the staging lines and getting them to just make a competitive pass down the track, you'd want to beat them at their best. So it's always been I see it as a big family trying to do the best that they can. So you mentioned your run there. I've got a video of your run, and then let's watch it, and I'll have you talk us through it.
Wonder how that conversation at home went. Yeah, she's out there.
So right when I started, kind of did the little shimmy.
Yep.
And
took a little hop.
Yeah, I did a little hopping, and then I felt it load, and it kind of went like this.
Yep.
And I just stayed in it, and I was like, and I found a good piece of the track, and I'll say, my husband did a good job. He always reads the track really well, and Joe Ader's been a great mentor to me. He was also there scouring the line, like he goes, hey, aim for this. And my husband's like, aim for that. They both said the same thing. And I kind of let the tractor kind of do its thing in the beginning, and I'm working on the braking early. It's something I have not mastered yet. But I felt like the tractor found its spot in the track too, where like, it just felt really good for once, and I'll say, like, during the year, I'll have a really good hook where I'm like, oh my gosh, this is really going to stand up. And I'm like, I got 5th or I got 8th or, whatever. And then the next time I'm like, I have a terrible hook and I'm sitting, top 3 or, whatever. Yeah. So sometimes when you feel it and you're like, you think it's a really good hook, it might not be. So I just kind of let the tractor do its thing. And, it's ran so well this year. I've gotten very lucky. Others have not. And I count my blessings for how well this has ran. And my husband is, to thank for all of that. Like he keeps on top of it. Brian Knox, Shannon Leichner, SSI, Bob Nichols for the tires. I mean, everybody has just been absolutely phenomenal. We've ordered some more tires from Chad, and we're trying to figure out what's working best for each tractor, and what might work for me might not work for my husband. So we're working on the bar height and the toe to heel and all the things, and the pressures and the setups, and none of us have it mastered, right? I mean, we're all still trying to find that combination lock, and like I said, what might work for my tractor and my weight might not work for him, and my cat joined us. So we're still working on that, as everybody is. So, and if we slough off, others aren't. So we have to stay at the top of our game, as and every week we do a list on our way home of, okay, now this week we're going to do this, 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 and this, and we stick to our strict regimen of maintenance. And I do all the tire pressures at the event, and he does all the tweaking and the fuel and all the stuff. So we always know what each other is doing, so there's no miscommunication or anything like that. So my cat is joining us. So
interference.
I apologize. But yeah. So anyway, I mean, we try to keep on our best, and if he says, like, take off the valve covers, I can do that. All the simple things, like change the tires out, or he can focus on the more integral details where, like, I can grab tools, I can do all the things, and more the labor end of things. But he's got his you know, he's just more in tune to like finding the problem, the root cause of the problem. Yeah. And I'll say like his tractor gave us fits this year too of like, we had an electrical problem. So we replaced the mag, the points box, the coil, the wires, everything. We replaced everything because we could not figure out what was going on with it. And here it was one of the new wires we ran, rubbed a hole in the floorboard, and it kept shorting it out. So it took us to Lumberton last weekend to take the other two to figure out what was going on. So we're glad we found it. It was something stupid. It was minute, but it cost us a lot of points.
Yeah. And you guys started with one, then you went to two, and now you guys have worked your way up to three.
Yeah.
I think you fully caught the bug with it.
We did. We really did. I will say we have 2 posted up for sale right now because we want to get back down to 2. So whichever one sells or, who's ever interested in it, it can be turnkey, it can be chassis, it can be, whatever. But we cannot run 3 again. That was too much on us. And I'll be the first to admit that. And as much as I love it, we had to face the hard realization of, going back down to 2 and what's achievable for us. And, during the week, it's not just our regimen. We are focusing on our customers first.
Yeah.
And our stuff gets pushed off to the end and rightfully so, like they should come first. And, a pro stock to a mini is night and day different, and they deserve more of our effort. So 2's manageable.
Yeah. That's awesome to hear. Yeah, you guys have grown a whole bunch, and it's really been awesome watching you over these past 2 years, seeing how you talk the seat time, and I've noticed it with my short career here too, is you begin to notice the subtle things that these tractors are telling you going down the track, and it allows you react without thinking, because when you're doing 35, 37 mile an hour down the track, you have very, very little time to actually make a decision. You just have to go for it.
Yeah, and there's no second guessing.
Correct.
You have to be really confident.
You're right in that knife's edge of being in control and being upside down. So It's one of those things that it's always a fun class to watch no matter what, but participating in it's nothing. It's like nothing else.
Yeah. Yeah. It went from my bathroom break class to now if we're not in a poll, I'm watching the rest of you too. So, do know that there's like those of us that creep on everybody else too. So
we talked some guys that actually started to get more involved with the mini rods. Let's bring on Randy with the OSTPA and talk about kind of how they've became these big mini rod guys out there in Ohio too. So Randy, how's it going?
Oh, it's going real well. How are you guys doing? And congratulations, Lindsay, on your big win.
Thank you, Randy. I need to have a PB&J pizza for my celebratory win.
Absolute. For sure. Oh, this summer's been a real learning experience for me and Susie, the pizza shop chick. So with buying Vaughn and Lori's purple sled and trying to make Ohio, have a good class for those guys and have a good sled for them. So it's been a real learning experience this summer for sure. So, but and then we have Kevin and Lindsay came to a couple of our events, and Jeff and even with the having the Grand National tractors there really makes our pullers a lot better for sure. So. But
it looked like you guys had a great season out there with the OSTPA. I mean, for the inaugural season, bringing the class in to just run a kind of full-time state circuit, you guys had great tractor counts week in and week out and put on really good shows all across Ohio.
Yeah, I haven't did the final count there to check the averages, but I think we had an 8 or a 9 average every night, and I think we had 14 scheduled, and we had a rain out, and so we had we had a good year for our first year for sure. And like I say, we had a lot of some of the guys had their minis for a year or so, or a couple years, and then Cody Edwards with his first year of having a mini, so he ended up second in the points this year. So it was a real learning experience. It was fun to watch him. He traveled around with us a little bit, and it was fun to watch him grow for sure, as well as for me to grow with the mini rod sled to learn about it, and we're learning every day. Like Lindsay said, I think about pulling every day. I walk by that thing, and I even had it out today, just blowing it off again, just for the fourth or fifth time, just trying to keep it looking nice and keeping it maintained up so we don't have any troubles, and we just want to do a great job for everybody, for sure.
Yeah, the sleds almost is as important, if not more important, than keeping your pulling vehicle in tip-top shape, because that truly is the biggest safety deal behind sending a mini rod down at these absurd track speeds that we're at. And going back to last year, when we came out to party with you guys at Dragway 42 for the end of our season, that you guys know how to put on a good event out there, and that was no shortage of fun for us. That was a long way for one hook, but boy, did we really enjoy our time out there.
Yeah, we try. I mean, Chad Taylor and Jeremy Smith and Justin Lapp, it's the four of us on the executive board, and we take a lot of pride in making we work hard at having great events for when the national pullers get to come back state pulling with us. And we like everybody to talk about us, that we have good events and we try hard. We really do. And if it wasn't for those other three to be on the board, all of us on the board together, that's what really makes this whole thing happen. Because myself, I don't have a pulling vehicle. I just have the mini rod sled now, and Jeremy has the pro stocks, and Chad has the two wheelers. It gives us a real rounded, outlook on it. And so we try to make a good show for everybody, not just, we don't isolate anybody out. It's good. And then Justin doesn't have a vehicle either. He helps Jeremy with the pro stocks, but it works really well, and we have fun doing it. So that's what it's all about.
So what made you guys kind of decide that you were going to jump in and go with a new mini rod class on the state level for this year?
Well, actually, there was a lot of talk about it in a few previous years, and I don't know, it was actually still on the books. They had it back in Ohio several years back, and then it kind of went away, and then we just brought it back on, and there was a lot of sleepless nights thinking about, what do you do if we have this class and people are going to invest in us, and then we don't have a sled, and then Richard could be busy the same nights we want to go pulling, and Vaughn, he's usually busy same nights too. So Susie and I talked about it, and like I say, Jeff and I talked about it a lot, and Jeff Hurt, and so I talked with Vaughn, and he agreed to sell it to me. And so then that's when we really aggressively got going, like, this is going to happen. We have a sled, so it's going to happen. It's not going anywhere. It's going to stay at home. And then it really took off. It really did. And there's a lot of hometown of the pullers that are here. There's a lot of them at home. Ohio is home for them, and then, like I say, Jeff is here, and Kevin and Lindsay are close. They come over and support us some, so we greatly appreciate all that too. So
yeah, well, we appreciate you, because you roll out the red carpet for us too, Randy, and we're truly thankful for that. And we can tell that your heart is totally in it. And not having a pulling vehicle, you can probably focus more on the sled and the setups and stuff. So I think we get distracted with our stuff. That your distraction is your sled, but that's a good distraction to have.
I always enjoy talking with Brandon Bungart of Bungart Sleds, because a sled's almost like a pulling vehicle in some aspects. You have to sit there and read the track and set the sled up with very similar variables that you would on a pulling vehicle to hit your marks with the sled and put a class to where you're not having a short show at 250 and not blowing them out the door at 400.
Oh yeah, absolutely right. We yeah, unfortunately, we try to keep everybody right there at that 330 to 350 in Ohio because it lets everybody run a little bit, but yet it's not terrible. But
Yep.
boy, I tell you, I hate to admit this. One night a few weeks ago, I went to everybody was busy, like all the like Chase and a few of the other guys that go with us, and we all hang out together. But everybody was busy that night, so I went to Roanoke, Indiana, by myself, and I'm like, "Ah, I can do this." And well, I tell you, once you have a bunch of good people around you, and then you go by yourself, you're like, "Oh no," you know. But so out there, the track got so hard, and yeah, I had the most weight I've ever had in that thing and in the fastest gear. And they still ran almost like 390 was the winner. And but as the as the people in the stands, they're like, "Boy, that was a nice show." I'm like, "Yeah," but as the sled operator and as a puller then, like, well, that was just a little that was too long, but boy, it was so dusty and so hard you just couldn't get a hold of it. So then even the big sled out there had trouble getting a hold of it. So I didn't feel quite as bad, but I did feel terrible about it for those guys. So it is tough some nights for sure.
I do think, though, for Andy Corporal, he ended up winning.
Yes.
The weekend before that in Wasion, he went for a hell of a ride.
Yes.
So I think that that was probably good for him too, to have a solid, good pass. Yes, nobody wants to go that far, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes it's beyond your control. I mean, that's and that's part of your learning curve too. So,
Sure.
and it does. I mean, the fans go nuts over it. So
Yeah, it was that was something. And so I forget who I forget who I was talking to when I pulled in out there, and nothing against state pulling or region pulling, but I knew I was going to a region event. I'm like, oh, this will be fun. Come out here. There'll be 10 or 11, you know, good minis, but not like not Grand National minis or Champions Tour minis. And I turned the corner, and out there at Roanoke, this little youngster, he tells, just pull in that driveway. And I'm not kidding you, it looked like a farm driveway. And I'm like, are you sure? There's trees over it. And I dropped down in this little valley, and oh, it's a beautiful facility. And I turned the corner, and there was the Theobalds. I'm like, oh no. And then the guys from Canada were there. And I'm like, oh no, we have 4 or 5 Grand National minis here. I'm out here by myself. I'm like, oh, so talk about being a little bit nervous. That was that got me a little bit. That got me wound up there. So it was a little bit tough, but we got through it, and it was a lot of fun though for sure. And like I say, pulling when I was, with Jeremy a lot with the pro stocks, I got to know that group a bunch. But now with the minis and with, Kevin and Lindsay and Jeff and Cody Singletary, you get to meet a different bunch of people with the minis. And it's been a lot of fun for Susie and I, that's for sure. We spend a lot of time with everybody, and we sure do enjoy it, that's for sure.
oh, we do too.
So,
Yeah. I mean, the way I see it is sled operators have one of the hardest, if not the hardest job out there, because it's very hard to make everyone happy. And when something small goes wrong, you're always the one that's getting yelled at or screamed at or whatever it is. So it's really a part of the group that doesn't get a whole lot of recognition that I feel should, because of really how difficult the job is.
yeah, and sometimes, I think Susie and I were talking about this a little bit, and then Jeff and I talked about it quite a bit. Um, and Jeremy Smith, I said, um, when there's 30 minis or there's 15 pro stocks, I said, you guys at the tail end of the class, you get to watch 15 or 16 vehicles ahead of you. And I see you back there. I look out my back window, and you're moving weights or changing your drawbar or doing everything. And so you had 15 or 16 attempts to look at that. And I said, I had to be right the first time. So that was a mental game for me for sure. I'm like, oh, how do you get over that? You just have to be confident in what you do for sure. But that was pretty tough for me to, like, man, how you don't get to change. You just got to stick with it and hope you did the right thing. So take a lot of notes, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, you don't get to change midstream like everyone else does. But that's all part of pulling, I guess. So For sure.
Walk us through a little bit from a sled guy's perspective. What are you looking at when you roll up to the track? We're all the mini rod, even in any of the classes, we're all out there poking the track, trying to figure out where these wet spots are, where we would want to spot the sled and stick it down in there. What are you guys looking for? What are you changing for weights in the boxes, for gearboxes, pan drop? What are you guys looking at there?
Well, so with the mini sled, you know, I'm pretty, once again, her to leaving it contest to this. And when I tell you I'm pretty spoiled, because I am pretty spoiled, you know, I've got to be very blessed to do what I do. And one thing about the mini rod sled is you only have to adjust for one class, not multiple different classes. So most generally in Ohio, we're the second class. So you get to watch the big sleds run over it. So that gives you a pretty good idea. And then, you know, I mean, I know that if, you know, if Kevin and Lindsay are there, and if Richardson's there, and if Jeff's there, so I know I got to do I have to do a little bit different, a little different setup in my box. But if it's our normals, if it's our regulars, we're pretty good with. We've been running pretty much the same setup about all year, because we know where we're at, and we're doing a pretty good job. We're getting them, you know, reeled in there at that 330 to 350 mark right now. So, I just I just watch the first class of whichever runs, and ask them, where are you guys? Are you your normal setup, or are you light, or what? And so that's how I do it, because I'm very spoiled, because I get to watch the big sled run, and then I can ask them, and, you know, are you where you need to be? And then I can adjust accordingly off of that. So that's what I do. But, and like I said, we've been running a pretty consistent, and Vaughn and I have talked quite a bit, and Donnie Bauer, thank goodness for him. I talk to Donnie once a week about things, just trying to learn more and more about the thing. But Donnie's helped me out a lot for sure. So we run pretty consistent, the same. When the 5 or 6 Grand National tractors show up, we're a little heavier, but not much, because we do have some really strong minis in Ohio. So we're real close, real similar to where we need to be every night. So, like I say, we're spoiled.
Blaze
For
wants
sure.
to know what rig we all run, truck or tractors. So I run 2 Grand National mini rods. One's right here. We run Pro Poland League Champions Tour. Lindsay, you're about in the same boat as us.
Yeah, we're 3 minis and the Grand National.
And then Randy, let's back it up a little bit. Where did you get into Poland with stuff, and what have you? I've seen you in the seat a couple times over the years. What have you pulled, and where did you get your starts with stuff?
Oh, back about 2001, 2002, somewhere in there. 2001, we bought an old 1066, and, you know, we just learned stock pulling, as we all went stock pulling before, you know. And then, I just thought, you know, this is, if you're going to spend the money to go stock pulling. And then I bought a old pro stock tractor, and I pulled it in a super stock class in Ohio a couple years. And then we just kind of went away from owning a vehicle or even driving a vehicle. And I got on my local fair board, and I was the promoter there for 28 years. And in the middle of that, we've become really good friends. Kenny Lucas, with the fantasy, he says to me, we're in Norwalk, Ohio. I'm the promoter. He says, why don't you run for the board? I said, what board? I'm on the fair board. He said, no, the Ohio State board. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I'm not, you know, because all the people you looked up to were always on the board. I said, I'm not good enough for that. And and then I thought about it, and Susie says it's too much windshield time. And so I thought about it, and I told Kenny I'd do it. So I got elected to the Ohio State board, executive board. And then in that time, Kenny was the president. So, and then Kenny and Don and Carl Odell, they have the dirt donkey and the fantasy blown four-wheel drive. So then I um, Carl and Kenny asked me if I'd drive, so I got to drive the donkey for a couple seasons, and then it just kind of escalated into this mini rod thing, and then if we're not Ohio pulling, I'm always with Jeff or Jeremy or whoever. And then back in the day, to back up a little bit, kind of jumped the gun there. We went champions tour pulling with Billy and Frank Keener all over the country. He had a couple points championships there, and we were involved with those guys, and that was a lot of fun with the alcohol supers, and then that's actually where we got to meet Kevin, was being with Jeff and all of them, and then it just kind of all the cards just kind of played out, and now we got the purple sled. So
Yeah.
that's just how it is, I guess. In a
I
nutshell,
always enjoy
that's our pulling story, I guess.
I always enjoy seeing. I'll see in the back of Full Pull Lives you out there helping Jeff. I'm like, I know that guy, but I don't know that guy, but I know that guy, and he's pretty cool. So,
Yeah.
friends of mine were in Roanoke. They came to watch, and so he spotted you first, Randy. He's like, "There's the pizza guy." So his girlfriend was telling me about it, and she's like, "Yeah, that's Randy. He's got a name." But I thought that was kind of cute.
Yeah, and as Lindsay says that, I don't know, I was walking down the track. I'd parked the sled at the starting line, and I was walking down the track, and I hear somebody hollering at me. And, it was on the grandstand side, and I just happened to look up, and I didn't think too much about it, and just kept walking. And I hear my name again, and then I looked, and I see her, and then I jump over the fence and over the guardrail, and I'm over there just talking to her. I'm like, "What's it?" She goes, "What's the chances of us being together out here?" I go, "Well, apparently pretty good tonight." It was so. I said, "You just never know where you're gonna see me, I guess." So
I love it. That's great.
that was a lot of fun. But you look around, and you like say when you look up and towards the crowd, you're like, "Well, I know I heard my name, but I couldn't pick her out." And I'd only ever talked to her I came out to the fort on that Friday night that we got rained out, and that was the first time I'd ever met her. Yep. But that was when you and Susie and you guys all went to Indy. You guys
We had a girls' weekend in Indy in April, and she was with. Yep. So.
Yep, absolutely. I remember talking about. Yep, that was a lot of fun. Yep, it was fun.
You definitely develop a lot of great relationships in this sport. That's for sure. So I'm truly thankful for everybody that I've met along the way, and you look at a lot of the world today and how it is, and I'm truly thankful for our little tight group.
For sure.
Big, but it's small when you really look at it.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's like you said, it's amazing the people that we've got to meet over the years. And when I was with the Keeners, champion store pulling, Susie had never went. She just always worked at the pizza shop. So that's where that whole thing came. That's where the pizza shop chick came from. Jonathan and Christy would always say, "Where's Susie at?" I said, "Oh, you mean the pizza shop chick? Yeah, she's at home." So a lot of people they never met her for the first 3 or 4 years. Said someone's got to stay home and work so I can come out and do what I do, and then she finally went. So that's where that whole thing, the pizza shop chick, came from, was when we were champions tour pulling, and she never went with us. So, but then that's where a lot of people, we know a few people, met quite a few people in Missouri, and I think some of them still call her that. They probably think that's her name, the pizza shop chick. So,
there's a lot worse names, I promise.
Oh, understood. But yeah, like I say, I'm very blessed to be able to meet the people that I've met over the years, and boy, you can't. It's definitely irreplaceable. That's for sure. For the people we've met and everything about it. So there's no doubt. I wouldn't change anything the way the way we were brought up. We used to sit in the stands. Then we got to do some brush pulling, and then be the promoter, and then on the executive board, and then go pulling, and now being the sled owner. I wouldn't change it for anything. That's for sure.
You've quite literally been in all the roles of pulling.
Yeah, you're right. And it's been a lot of fun. Like I say, I wouldn't change any of it. Believe it or not, we're going to call it 60 miles, 65 miles from Bowling Green, Ohio. And neither one of us, Susie and I, we've never been there. We've never been to Bowling Green pulling because our county fair was that week. And this is the first year that we've ever been. Susie didn't go. This is the first year I'd ever been to Toma. I've been to Farley a couple times just to see the guys, and was out there Be last year pulling, or we were out there pulling with them. But like some of the big events, NTP events, they're always on the same nights that Ohio's pulling. So I've never been to, like, say, first year in Toma, never been to Chapel Hill, never been Bowling Green. So we're definitely, and then, well, first year for Roanoke as well. So we're definitely broadening our horizons. And actually, this is the first year in 10 years of the executive board of Ohio State that I've actually missed an event. So I was pretty faithful to stay at home. But we're venturing out now, so that's for sure. So
Well, hey, let's talk some things that happened this past weekend. I mean, we had the Enderly Dragway 42 was this past weekend. Where would you guys like to start? I know you guys are on both sides of the fence here.
go ahead, Lindsay.
Well,
Talk about the Enderly. I've never been to the Enderly either, because we have a big weekend this past weekend as well.
Yep.
So
sure. Well, I will have to say that this was the first Enderly for me. A couple years ago, I stopped there for like a meeting, one of the rules meetings, on my way back to Wisconsin to visit family. So it really doesn't count. But this was my first year actually attending and pulling. I will say it's a very nice facility. We got to park in some trees, so we actually had shade for once. We almost didn't know what to do with ourselves. But I will say they did a really nice job of, taking care of us, and they had an itinerary, and it was nice to actually like know what was going on at what times, where to be, and I didn't have to juggle 3 vehicles. But the first night there was a dinner provided by Full Pull, which was awesome. There was beer, dinner, DJ. So great intro to coming in. They did a live numbers drawing that night, so we were able to know our track position the same time everybody else did. So I thought that was kind of cool. I think they could upgrade their hats a little bit. I'm not a hat wearer, but it's all good. It was very nice. So they did bingo ball drawing, and we all stood up there and got our pictures taken. And then the next day, they did another puller's meal at noon, and they did the regional drawings, and kind of the same way we did ours, and did a big group photo in front of the grandstands, and did driver introduction on the track. And it was really, it was a nice setup. I think the only thing that I heard, and I don't even know if it was negatively, was like in between the classes. So this year they did Grand National first as opposed to last. I didn't mind it a bit, but I know some people didn't care for that because it went pretty late. But usually in years past, it was later. And apparently in years past, they didn't do points. It was just the end of the year hoorah. This year it was still you collected points, and I thought that was kind of neat. And I'll use our class as an example, and I think 4-wheel drives were in the same boat. We were so tight on points. It was just as fun for us as it was everybody else watching to see where our chips fell. And I didn't come in with any expectations, none. And I actually had a pretty cool, calm, collect demeanor. I see Joe Ader commented on that. Like I was very calm, which I think helped me. And I think by sitting, by being 4th puller as opposed to earlier, I had other people to watch. So I was very fortunate for that. The track was tricky. I won't say it was bad, because it wasn't. It was tricky. So I had those two kind of keeping an eye out for me, which helped me tremendously. But it was kind of fun to watch, just 5 in each class go, because like I said earlier, I never get to watch. So I was able to actually come back and watch the regional hooks. But it was fun to also watch 4-wheel drives, because they were really tight on points as well. And then, obviously Colin is, our right-hand man at Chaos, and he did great at his points championship as well. And, I don't know, it was a really cool environment. And the layout, I really like the layout, because a lot of times you're crammed in the starting line and you can't move around. And with us, you have to have your support vehicle and try to maneuver. But, the space was awesome. And, everybody was very complimentary, and a lot of the fans stopped by the trailer. It was great. And thankfully leading up to it, I really didn't have a lot of maintenance to do. So that was an even bigger win for us. Like we took our other 2 tractors to Lumberton, North Carolina for a regional hook. And we left mine at home deliberately, so that way it was ready to go. So we actually had it ready to, loaded, ready to go early for once. And I think that helped with the stress level. So, but yeah, that was kind of my takeaway, and just a very nice vibe.
Yeah, I got to catch bits and snippets. We were at a local event pulling a single engine light mod, and we had good luck with that. But it was really interesting to see kind of as the night progressed where the guys were shifting around on the track. And usually when they've had the pullers draw it in years past, if you're the points championship, you either pick the first spot at the Enderly or you pick the last, trying to either stick one right out the gate or watch the rest of the class. So you drew that 4th spot there, if I recall. Yep. So you got to watch a little bit, but you also weren't at the tail end of it. And boy, did you stick a pass right down in there.
Thank you. I owe it to my team. They nailed the setup. And I got lucky. And as Chris was saying here, the grandstand side was pulling to one side. Most people were getting pulled to the left. And so I was able to watch that prior to getting up there. So I knew I was most likely going to have to be on my right brake, which I did brake a little bit. But thankfully, it hooked, it found a sweet spot. And I truly got lucky.
Yeah. And that's one of those things, like, the track's doing this and you try to compensate with where you put the sled, but you also have that in the back of my mind that if you stab the brake too hard, then you might lose that last 1 to 2 foot. And that, like, the split between even 1, 2, 3 and all that, the distances were getting so close to each other that if you tagged a brake for just a half a second too long, that could have been the difference.
Yeah. Yep.
So I don't have the notes in front of me, but what were some of the distances in the minis?
So I was the leading distance at 350, and then Adam Custer was 324.87, and then Bauer was 321, Ken Vinny was 318, and Jeff Hurt was 317. I know Ken hurt his motor there at the end, and I hate to see that for anybody. Like, that's not cool. We've been there. We'll be there again, but I hate to see somebody break. And Jeff just kind of, he had a tough go of it down the track. Like, I think he did the best with what he had. And, he tried to straighten it out, and we've all been there. And, to still end up, 317 wasn't too far, back either. Like, I think he did the best with what he could.
So what's kind of your thoughts of having this end of the year hoorah, or even just an end of the year shootout, only taking the top 5 and you're competing against kind of the elite and the ones that have put up the best season throughout the whole kind of year as a whole?
Yeah, I think, I kind of like it. I never really had an opinion toward it until this year. What I think would be kind of neat, and I don't know if it would ever go well, but almost like double jeopardy, like maybe raise the stakes a little bit. I don't know if that would ever go well, especially if somebody hasn't locked in coming into it. I guess I wouldn't blame them if they didn't want to do it. But, like, take our position. I think it'd be kind of neat to do, double jeopardy or something, really spice it up a little bit. But, if you have it clinched,
yeah,
I think it'd be a different opinion for sure. But I don't know. I think it's great because it's, we all wait for the Super Bowl. NASCAR is Daytona. You have that cool thing to look forward to. And, I think that was it, and I got a better appreciation for it now that I've been in it. And, what's sweeter victory than having my very first Grand National win at the Enderly, which, I'm glad to end the season on a high note because I needed it. But, I think it's a very humbling class too, like one day you can do really well, and the next day you can trip up, and everybody else in that class is on their game. And if you're not, you get one crack at it, So I will say, like, and every single class is the same, and this has just amped me up even more as a fan and a competitor. So,
yeah, I think that the event is truly a one of a kind event, special to see because you get to see all the classes. One, just sit down and you watch it through the top 5, and it's kind of do or die for these guys. They've worked their tails off all year for it, and this is their one last chance to show that they really have the stuff to hang with it. So, like Chris was saying here, the track was throwing you guys curveballs when Simon's semi took it off that way. So
I will say he did a good job of holding on to
that.
Like, RJ's a driver. Like, he did really well. And that track official, he can jump. So he did really good too. He was watching. So there wasn't one of us that missed that. But, RJ's a hell of a driver, and that could happen to any one of us. But he did a good job of controlling that.
So well, we may touch on the Enderly some a little bit later. But Randy, how did Dragway 42 turn out for you guys? And then what do you guys have left until the end of your season? Because I don't think it's quite done yet, if my mind serves me right.
Yeah, that is correct. Actually, this weekend we had 4. We had Old Washington on Friday night and Upper Sandusky. I was at the Upper Sandusky event. We'll touch on that just in a second. But at Old Washington, and then we were in Dragway 42 on Saturday, and then on last night we were in Ashland County. And those 3, we had the Buckeye Challenge. So we have the semis, the pro stocks, and the 2-wheelers. And there was I think there was the semis. They just ran 2 nights, and it was $5,000 to win. It was a bonus that they put in. And then the pro stocks had $3,000 to win. They ran all 3 nights. And then the 2-wheelers, they got an extra $2,000 to win, and they had to run all 3 nights. So we had a big weekend with those guys. I think we had a 10 or 12 average with those 3 classes. And so we had and they had really good shows, and they went fast. And I think we had 55 or 56 at all 3 of those events. And well, at Dragway 42, we had more because we had 9 classes there. But at Upper Sandusky, I was over there. We had 4 classes. We had the minis over there, and then they came back to Dragway 42. So we had a busy weekend, that's for sure. But then we have Dover, Ohio, Friday night. And then the next Friday night, we have Coshocton, Ohio. And then we're doing, we tried to do it last year, but we got rained out in Coshocton. They're doing the finale. It's Saturday night, and we're just doing the top 5. And they've got a bunch of sponsors, and they got some extra money thrown in. I think it's two or 2,500 to win. I'm not sure. I think it's 2,000 to win for sure. At the finale, and it's just the top 5. So there'll be 55 vehicles there next Saturday night, a week from Saturday, in Coshocton. So that's what we have left for the year. So it'll be fun, I'm sure. So it's our first time of doing it. It's kind of patented off the Enderly, but we wanted to try to do something different because none of our guys are, they all stay in Ohio, so they don't run that to ever get to go to the Enderly. So we thought we'd try to do something, and the promoter down there in Coshocton, he was all about it, and he got a bunch of sponsors, and we worked with them, and so it's going to be good. It's going to be exciting for sure. So, and then we actually, this weekend on the 3 nights of the Buckeye Challenge, we had full pull there, and it was all live streamed, and a lot of good things happened there, and a lot of good stuff happening this weekend in Ohio, that's for sure. So go ahead.
It's definitely very entertaining to watch because Ohio has a plethora of vehicles itself, but they also pull a lot from Kentucky and Tennessee are right in your backyard. You have the whole full pull motorsports and all of those guys on the East Coast. And then you even pulled a lot of the guys out of the Indiana side of stuff. So it's more or less kind of an epicenter of Poland in the United States.
Yeah, we're very blessed, that's for sure. We got a lot of we do have a lot of draws, and there was actually 3 of our 11 classes. The champions were crowned this weekend as well. The super modified 4-wheel drives, they finished up on Friday night, and Steve Barker with the live wire, they won that. And then the minis, they finished up. And Mike Summers, he drives the Crazy Horse. He actually won that. And then Spencer Rook, they won the Champions Tour, I believe it was, super semis this year, and they won the state event as the state championship as well. So that was good for them guys. And yeah, Summers and Cody, it was Cody's first year with the mini. I think he finished 2 points behind him. So it was a good class all summer long watching those guys, that's for sure. So
They had a great year.
yeah. Yeah, Cody went with us. He was with us out there at he was at Farley with us, and he went to Toma with us. So yeah, his first year of having a mini, we drug him around, and then we actually took him to Florida. His very first pass on a mini rod was in Florida, down at Green Cove, I think it was. Yeah, we were in Green Cove. Jeff and I took him down there for the he just got it back, or I don't know, he had maybe a week or so, and we told him we were taking him to Florida, and he just kind of laughed, and we said, no is unacceptable. So we took him down there, and his first 2 passes on a mini rod were in Florida. And then we took him to Farley and up to Toma with us, and it was good. It was good for him, and it was good for our class. It made everybody better pullers, that's for sure. And Summers and Bryce Cullen is his teammate. Bryce actually won the last 2 events. He won Upper Sandusky and Dragway 42. So with the Dr. Dirt tractor, so those guys got it going on, that's for sure. So
yeah, between the Summers and Bryce Colin, and even you got gosh, now I draw a blank whenever I think of him.
Oh, Peters
You got Peters out there
in the Bacon Biz tractor. Those guys come over quite a bit. Yeah,
great group of them.
Yeah.
Did Carbon Copy run with you too?
What's that? I'm sorry.
Did Sam with the Carbon Copy run with you guys too?
No, we seen him. I forget. We seen him one night, I think, is all.
Okay.
Yep. We just see. I can't even remember where we seen him at, Lindsay.
Sure. Oh, Spiky.
Spike says hi there, Lindsay.
That's the little dog. I love him. He's great.
That's awesome. So, Randy, I know I see you from time to time. Are you coming down to the PPL banquet this year? Will we see you down there?
Oh, of course. We've been going down there with Jonathan and Christy. I don't even know how many years. We'll be down there for 10 with the Ohio State crew, and then we used to go down with Keeners. So we've been down there several years with them. So yeah, kind of look forward to that for sure. It's a good weekend away in Louisville. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it was a good time last year. I remember we were sitting out there with Van Hazley, and it was like 3 a.m. and you guys came out there, and it was just a fun time all the way around.
Yeah. We tried to utilize every hour of the day when we're in Louisville. For sure.
Randy is definitely a night rat. I love it because Kevin has deemed me and Tim Ray blue night rats. So I think you can join the club.
Oh yeah, the truck that we drive, that we hauled a lot of people around in. It's just an old farm truck. That's what we call it. But I put those 2 red watermelon lights in there, and Jeremy Smith, he's like, "You're out all hours of the night." He said he's like a vampire. He doesn't sleep. And those red lights in there just keeps him going. I go, well, you just got to do what you got to do. Have a little fun, So, yeah, we definitely stay out late. That's for sure. We've met a lot of people and had a lot of good times. That's for sure. No doubt. But
no beers are consumed, are they?
What's that? I'm sorry?
No beers are consumed at that time, are they?
No. No, well, no, but we try to keep the Canadians in business with the Crown Royal, for sure. But yeah, yeah, I want to say definitely if the Chad Taylor, he's our president, and I'm the vice president, and Justin Lapp's a vice president, and Jeremy Smith, he's our treasurer. If it wasn't for those guys, that's what really makes our group really good here in Ohio. I mean, those guys work really hard for all of our pullers, and I want to say really, really to shout out to them. Thanks a lot for um, maybe putting up with some of my shenanigans, and we all have them. That's for sure. That's what makes it fun. But yeah, definitely want to thank those guys for all they really appreciate what they do for us. That's for sure. So
No, that's one thing we learned. Like the first year that we spent out on the national circuit, we just had our trailer and a Dodge truck, and that's what we took all across the nation. And it was always a pain because you had to find a hotel, you had to do this. But what we missed out most was the after the pull, just hanging out in the pits, talking with friends, talking with fellow pullers. That's where you truly learn a lot, but it's also what makes it fun. Like you can go out and have a phenomenal pass, or you could go out and take the front end off the tractor. But just standing around a pit full of methanol on fire, that's truly one of my fondest memories of the sport at any hour of the night.
yep, absolutely. Yep, for sure. Agreed.
I even busted a celebratory old Milwaukee out the other night. So
Uh-oh.
you go top shelf when you get an Enderly.
Yeah, absolutely. Top shelf, old Milwaukee, huh?
Oh, I love it.
It always seems like Lindsay knows that's where the party's at. She knows that party.
I try until I feel like crap. I've been sick for like 3 weeks, so my night routing has been like I'm on probation for my night routing right now. But I will. I'll make it up to y'all. So.
Yeah, well, you sound a lot better than you did last time I talked with you. So you gotta be feeling a little better.
Yeah, I think Lisa Peterson was my best doctor in Wellington. So
right, yeah.
Help me out.
Yeah, that's a good deal. I remember we talked about that just a little bit. So
Yep.
For sure. But yeah, that definitely is. It's a lot of fun traveling across the country because, like I say, you get to meet a lot of neat people, and I don't know, definitely wouldn't trade it for anything.
No,
for sure.
Same.
Now we'll hopefully see you down there. So we'll have to have just a hangout there, eating pizza in the lobby at 3 a.m. or something odd like that. But no, that's all fun with stuff. So Lindsay, what else do you got? You got anything off the top of your head there? We're just gonna have a roundtable session here for the rest of it.
I like it. I don't know. I guess like kind of looking through my notes a little bit because I, try to be prepared.
Yeah.
But do you have any like spare parts that you keep with us? I know we're a little extreme, but we have a bunch of spare tires. We have spare blowers for every tractor. We even have a spare motor we carry with us. I was just kind of curious if everybody else is a little, over the top like we are, or if it, just.
Really, that's kind of what our program is too. We have our spare motor, and then, gosh, this MSD stuff, it drives me up the wall with it because
we have 2 cabinets of that.
It seems like you're always sending boxes off to get checks and coils. And it's always the darndest thing that's killing these things. So there's always the spare motor, but there's also, you have almost 2 complete ignition systems with you at all time, just in case something were to go bad. And then we carry just your standard, we'll carry 2 blower belts for each tractor. We'll carry the spare motor that could drop in either of them. Then you got all just some of the tools that's one thing that we've learned, that we have got to get even more tools that we just kind of take for granted around the shop. Stuff you can just go in and grab out of the toolbox that once you're on the road, you realize, oh, I need that one special tool that only, whether it's a socket you turned on a lathe to fit a stupid head bolt or something. That there's always the one thing. But all in all, when you're looking at it, you almost carry enough parts to build another tractor less the frame. That's the way we look at it, because we have spare gearbox if we were to twist a shaft off or something. We have, on occasion, rear end components. I mean, you carry tires with you. You carry basically from your clutch can forward with your motor stuff. So you can do like some guys, take Cody Singletary and just bring a whole spare parts tractor.
I mean, it worked. It wasn't. I don't recommend it, but
no, maybe that's the strategy with you guys being an engine builder and a chassis builder. Is you guys you bring 2 trailers to an event and just dedicate a parts trailer for all of your fellow competitors, and you could probably do pretty well for yourself there.
Yeah, believe it or not, at the Enderly there was a spare tractor with us just in case. So glad we didn't need it. Glad we hauled it for nothing, but we had a whole tractor upstairs just in case. So,
I mean, if it works, it works, because clearly it does.
Oh, Jeremy's talking about the fire water.
What is this fire and water?
Oh God, I'm telling you, like those people in the Carolinas, they know how to party too. But we were trying to kill my cold there. I mean, I think it helped.
So it's something a little special.
Yes, and my cat's name is Boots, by the way.
Boots?
Yeah, she's usually up my ass. So, yeah, there's that.
Where's the rabbit?
The rabbit's in the basement in her pen.
You got a rabbit?
I have a rabbit. I'd have a zoo if I could. My husband actually, he says I have no self-control when it comes to animals, and I don't. He's right. So
what else have you had besides a cat and a rabbit?
I have 2 cats and a rabbit, but
2 cats and a rabbit.
Yeah, I've like a wildlife sanctuary around here. There's like 20 acres, and I feed every bit of wildlife that I can. So I'm a sucker when it comes for animals. So
gosh,
I told him if I won the Enderly, I could get a puppy, but he did say when I got done, he's like, maybe you can get a puppy, but I might have to wait.
So if you weren't doing the minis, what other class would you want to jump into?
Pro stock.
Pro stock?
Yep.
You guys build enough of them. You
we
just
do.
need to hop into one of them.
Yeah. I'm scared I'd get addicted to that as well. So I might as well just stay doing what I'm doing here. And I think it's I like the easeability of like just throwing a mini rod in and being able to push it around and pull it around, and it's very light and easy to move. When it comes time to clean, I really like that they're small. I usually do all the pressure washing when we get back, and a few hours of that and I'm about over it. So
what about the rat that you had?
The rat. Are you talking about that? Oh, I think she's talking about Bill Hurt's dog. Yes. I call her mean and nasty. Her name is actually Emmy, but she is like the nastiest little gnarly thing. She's a little chihuahua, and don't go near it. I think I'm like 60 days without a bite. So I think I'm doing really well. We're really gaining ground, but I think it was at Toma. Somebody actually thought it was a rat.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I've been relentless on trying to make her my friend, but I think she tolerates me now. So
it's one of those dogs that it kind of only listens to Bill. And
I would not recognize Bill if that dog went missing. And in Chapel Hill, like I saved her life because it was fireworks and she lost Bill, and she actually let me hold her. So I think we've really moved some mountains with that dog. So
really gained an extra friendship.
Yeah, be watching for Facebook photos. Like we're gonna take a bunch of selfies.
So, Randy, if you weren't behind the whole organization and putting on this new even mini class to running the whole kind of show with your board of directors, what class would you want to jump into?
Well, truthfully, they're all good. I don't know that I would. It'd be pretty tough for me to tell you that I would want to. I mean, you, the pro stocks are a really nice class. They really are, but I don't know. When them alcohol supers are running, them are some badass machines, you know. Hertz got a when Hertz tractor runs, and when Keener had Triple X, and Kevin's tractor ran, and you know the Blackburn tractors. It's just something to be around. Those things make a lot of power, and they go fast. And
Oh,
I don't know. It'd be tough if I had to pick. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the pro stocks are a lot of fun, but you know, if you get a good running alcohol super, I'm telling you, I think that's probably where it's at. But you know, we're at the mini rod stage now, and we're really happy, and they make a lot of power too. But
Yeah,
a good running alcohol super, I think that's where it's at.
that's a class that I think kind of is an underdog and doesn't get valued enough for kind of what it is, because the amount of power that they're pulling out of 6 or 8 cylinders in these big cubic inch alcohol motors, it's crazy the amount of engineering that goes in behind it, and then getting not only the power but getting it put into the ground. It is truly something special that really I think goes kind of unnoticed with.
Yeah, I know. Like when we go to Jeff, you know, we're only 45 minutes from Jeff and Jesse, so we're up there quite a bit. And you know, you walk into the shop, and um, the running bear sitting back there with the hood up in the air. And I always, every day I go in there, you know, you go in there and you just look at it and you just try to take in what's all there. And you know, it's there's an awful lot going on underneath the hood of that thing for sure. And then you know, Frank and Billy, they still run a long motor, so they got 6 in a row to make her go. So you know, they see the hood up on that thing at Ohio events, and there's just a lot going on one of those things, and you just wonder who. I just always think to myself, who was the guy that figured this out first? You know, like putting 3 turbos on or 4 turbos on. How do you stack these things, and all the footages of piping that's underneath there? That's just
Yeah,
an amazing thing, you know, for sure. So,
and
but
you
yeah,
bring
there's
up the running bear. I mean, that machine, the history behind it and the years of service that they between Bill and Jeff that has been put into that tractor is astronomical.
Oh yeah. I mean, I can remember it being a diesel tractor to his first alcohol to the long motor to the V8 now. So yeah, it's transformed a lot, that's for sure. So
So,
yeah, go ahead.
Lindsay, going back to your animal situation, you own a wiener dog too?
I love hard
Part,
owner. Yeah.
part owner?
Whenever I see Jeremy, I just take the dog. Yep. That's just kind of how it's like a rent a dog program, I think.
Rent a dog.
Rent a dog.
Yeah, I'm
That's
okay with
hilarious.
that. And Sue, back to the rat statement. She texted me and she's like, the hedgehog. I had a hedgehog for a while.
Oh,
That's little porcupine. Yeah.
gosh.
Mm-hmm.
Where did
Recommend.
you come up with that?
Well, you know, sometimes I have some really smart ideas. Don't get a hedgehog. They're not very friendly and not very cuddly.
Not very cuddly.
No. So there's my zoo for you.
That's awesome.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, depending upon, we can go for as long as you guys want, just sit here and discuss. But
Yeah, I mean, whatever you want to do.
I've gone through all my necessary list of stuff, and we can just sit here and talk. It could be it can't be 2 a.m. I've got school tomorrow. But
I don't know. I'm a geek when we talk tractors, so like I could do this all night long. But I think it's kind of cool how, you know, all the winners were crowned this weekend. You know, especially with Grand National, like Brandon Simon always has a hell of a good year. I just kind of want to make note of that. And like I said, that 4-wheel drive class was kind of fun, and I think Tommy Corsa ended up winning that. So him and his daughter were kind of head to head. That was kind of cool.
Mhm.
I always like to see, family in together. Obviously Colin is, pretty near and dear to our heart. So kind of cool to watch that. And
Colin Ross, we'll pause on that for a second. The season that he put together, it baffled me, to be quite honest, because the diesels have always been kind of behind in terms of the alcohol tractors, but coming out swinging from the beginning of the season and just kind of continued upward with the power plant and just the sheer amount of power that they're building. That has truly been something very, and I bet you know a lot that you're not going to tell us about that tractor. But
and I think the dual fuel thing is so cool. Back to that question of, what would you run it, besides a Mini? I think also a diesel super would be cool. I just don't know if my leg would hold the clutch in that well, but I'd give her a whirl. But it is so cool to see, what Colin can do and his family and the guys at their shop, our shop. Like it's been a really cool development. Always fun to watch, and great fan base there too. So yeah, and then watching Joe Ader with his Unlimited, that's always fun. And then Adam Bauer, I think he's always a blast to watch and compete with too. Like he is one of those guys that he's not scared of the throttle by any means, and think outside the box a little bit. So I'd like to give credit where credit's due there. I think Bauer's really been just a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I talked to CJ probably on a month-to-month basis, just checking in.
CJ. He's great.
He's great. Never met Adam. Never really talked to him. It's one of those deals that if we make the swap or try to run both series, that will be something that I'm looking forward to, because knowing CJ Adams, and even just one of those guys that is a step above every other human.
Yeah, he's absolutely a blast to watch, and really cool, chill guy. It's great. Like when you talk to him, he's pretty calm demeanor, chill, loves to drink with the rest of us. But when he gets in that throttle, I'm telling you, he is not scared, and he is a blast to watch. I'm a big Jeff Hurt fan to watch him pull, and I feel like Bauer is about, just about as crazy. So I love that. I love that about them, and I aspire to be that too. So
one other thing that popped in the top of my head off it wouldn't have been this past weekend, but the week before, was getting to witness it firsthand is Hallie Carrender's first Grand National win.
Yes, that was awesome. That was great. And she is an exceptional human being. Like, I really like her a lot. And she's deserved that win,
she's phenomenal. Getting to know her over these past couple years, she's been just awesome. My little brother Lyndon and her son Braden, they're best friends. They all go running around. But the Carrender family is great. And
I loved watching the video of Brad jumping up and down. Like, I think we backed it up and watched it like a handful of times. We loved it. Like their excitement, like that's what we're here to do. That's what we want to see. That's what we want to do. And I thrive off their excitement, and good for them. Like, they deserve that. So yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
I went over after the second night there Saturday, because we were doing maintenance and stuff, and I didn't get to talk to him very long after the win Friday night. But it was nice just to sit there and talk. We sat there and talked with Hallie and Brad there. I just spent maybe 2.5, 3 hours. We just talked family and Poland and great down-to-earth people. That's what I love about Poland. It's filled with all these people that are family-oriented and just overall great human beings to be around.
Absolutely. I'm glad you brought them up, because they're great.
Yeah, they definitely deserve that. They've been working at that for so long.
Oh, you can tell. You can absolutely tell how much they put into it, and I think they got a new hauler this year too, didn't they? Or a
Yeah,
different hauler.
they picked up a little or a little over the road
Toy hauler.
motorhome toy hauler, and
Yeah, it looks really cool. Good for them.
So props to them, and they even what they've done with pulling with us over the past 2-3 years, the growth, and that's what the mini rod class has spoken to me is. You look 5, 6, 7 years ago, there was 10 minis, 11, 12, 15, and then the class has just kind of blown up. It's finally become to where, holy cow, now we've got so many tractors per event. Now, I'm not one to knock being too many tractors at an event, but there's to where it's not abnormal to see 25 plus vehicles at just a regular event.
I think Bowling Green this year we were 54 or 52.
Yeah,
or
54,
like
56, somewhere.
Yeah, it's insane. But for those of us that love it, it's not so bad. But I couldn't imagine sitting in that sun all day and spectating and getting through that many. And we're like two-wheel drives. There's a whole bunch of us, but some of us crazy.
It's to the point where you have to look at it from a fan's perspective and say, what difference is it watching the first one go down versus the last one? But the competition is, we could run the local stuff and that's all we could ever do, and we could be perfectly happy with them. Sure. But we don't learn anything. You don't learn unless you're competing against people better than you. So that's what's really pushed us to excel on the national series. And it's competitors like you, Jeff Hurt, guys that are keeping us on our toes and pushing us to be the best that we can be.
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I'm like, like I said earlier, I think, everybody that I run with, no matter what, they just make me a better person because, everybody's putting in the same amount of time and effort and it shows, and it's very, it's such a humbling thing. And I truly respect everybody in their walk of life and what they're doing. I think too, the mini class is probably your more affordable, segue into the sport maybe, and it's just easier to haul around and bring, because you can just throw it in a pickup and a trailer and go, like you said earlier. I think that's a nice versatile tractor that you can use. So, and then there was a comment up here. Let's see. About going to Winter Nationals. So Midwest Winter Nationals. I do not compete in Midwest Winter Nationals, but I have a fun fact. I have never missed a year since they started that in Rantoul, Illinois. So
you've been there through Rantoul, and then it went to Cloverdale, and then it went to Shipshewana, and then now it did go to Decorah. And then now it's back to Cloverdale.
It was Cloverdale last year. But yeah, Shipshewana before that. I think we just lost him.
I think so.
It's just you and me, Randy.
Yeah, where did he go? Come on. He'll be back for sure. Absolutely. Yeah.
But yes, so that's my fun fact. My weird fun fact is I've never missed a year of Midwest Winter Nationals. So So, but no, I've never competed at it, and I'm not a winter activity person. So I'm good with leaving my temperamental alcohol tractor at home too. I'll just bring myself an alcohol.
Absolutely, nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. Sounds like we might be going to Florida for a little bit this winter, huh?
It sounds to be the case. They're wanting to start maybe in March is what I'm hearing. I'm not real sure, but maybe by that time I'll be ready for warmth and tractors anyway. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that'll be fun down there, I think. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
It's always fun. It was fun that year that you were in Ocala and I was down there with Jeff, and so yeah, it was a lot of fun.
I have PTSD from that one, but
no, it was a
little fun other than that. Yeah.
Wasn't that the year that we lost? Was that the year that we lost Brett for a little bit, and here he was up in the
Yes,
stands just watching?
we lost Brett, and I think we had heart failure.
Yeah,
And yeah, there's Brett just watching like a
yeah,
little old man sitting in the stands.
yeah.
Like that kid. I'm telling you, he warms my heart. But yeah, he gave us all a heart attack that day. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like, where's Brett at? I don't know. You're up next. Oh, we better go pulling. Where's Brett? I don't know. Then there's like 4 or
I'm
5
back.
of us that night.
hey, welcome
So
back.
yeah, yeah.
That was weird.
Did you guys have 2? And Chase had 2, and Jeff had 2, and like, where's Brett? Oh, he's just. Then we find him. He's up there in the stands, just sitting there
Oh my
watching us.
God,
He
total
had
heart
enough of our
failure.
shenanigans. So
Yeah.
yep, that was. We talk about that every once in a while. We talk about that. I talk about that with Bruce. So once in a while, whenever one of those guys end up missing, I'm like, well, just like Florida, he'll be back. He's up and look in the stands. We'll find him. So
Yeah.
for sure.
The one thing with
Yep.
those kids, I think, every event, like everybody knows who they are, so I
Yeah.
think there's always
Absolutely.
the built-in babysitters everywhere you go. Not that they need them, but it's so cool because they're just, if you don't see the hurt kids, like it's boring.
Mm.
Well,
Yeah,
the
they were.
driver interviews have been awesome too from those
Oh
kids.
yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my stepdaughter, she did it too a little bit at Rockwell with them, and that
Yep.
kind of got her out of her shell a little bit too. So that was fun to watch.
Yeah. We had Lily and Brett here in New London in our home. Well, this is actually Susie's hometown. Um, So when we were at Greenwich, that's where I grew up, and that venue's, I don't know, quarter of a mile from our pizza shop, and then the New London one. Well, look, here comes Sheldon Cooper.
Oh,
So
good. Work
yeah,
out.
Sheldon Cooper wants to get involved. So
I'm married to Sheldon Cooper.
and then we going, and then we at the New London event. That's quarter of a mile from our house, so we have 2 hometown ones basically. Um, but the hurt kids were back there doing interviews that day too. So
That's awesome.
it was a lot of fun getting them. Schultz is really great, boy. Jason and Doug and Hope and Kinsey, they do a great job with this live stream and stuff. We can't give them enough credit for what they do for us in Ohio here. They've done just a few events for us this year. Hopefully we can get them to do a lot more, but hopefully we can come to terms on that. But boy, they a lot of great things happening with that stuff for us and with everybody. It's really great, really growing the sport. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So
No, I totally agree with you. And I think too, it's a nice, like a different perspective from a kid's eyes, like doing those little interviews, thinking outside the box, digging in the archives of what's your, first car that you ever had. Like that's been fun, just
mhm.
something totally different.
Nope, absolutely. And when we there at Greenwich is where we actually, I mean, I guess the ones that knew, but that's where we actually got I'd made that quick trip to Peyton, Iowa, and hauled that thing home and kept it at the farm shop. And when we went to pick it up, Jason rode with us, and we talked in the truck and about all that stuff. And it's so neat to when as we say, Randy doing Randy things, just out wandering around. There'll be people come up to you that you wouldn't even think would pay attention to those kinds of things, and they're like, "Hey, I seen you on TV the other day. What was I doing? Is some shenanigans, or was I with Jeff, or what was I doing? No, it was when you went and got the sled for the Greenwich thing, and it's like say that other things, I guess, doing stuff like that, and then with the kids doing the interviews, it's just a lot of other offbeat things from what we normally do that really get people interested, and then it kind of brings them into our sport with us. It's a lot of fun watching it. As us for Susie and I watching it grow that way, it's kind of neat. That's for sure. So
That whenever I came to Jason and Jason came to me with the same ideas, me getting behind this, there's a lot of pullers that are going to be entering, we'll call it the Hall of Fame here coming up. And the younger generation really needs to start to get involved because you're on the edge of, okay, we've got a lot of people getting up there. We need to start bringing in some new lifeblood to keep the sport going. So seeing the hurt kids, but even this is my kind of PSA to all of the kids out there that are going to polls, just going and talking with the drivers, is without this younger generation, there's not much more that's going to go on. So it's always been, let's get these younger kids involved. And I think that there's truly some special things going on there.
For sure.
I actually, last year I went to a tractor show in our little town out here, and they asked me to come to it, and I said, I don't think I'm going to fit into your tractor show, because it was like a bunch of farmers, and and I love that stuff. Believe me, I'm kind of a hardcore geek when it comes to that stuff, and so I was honored that they asked me. So, like, no, please bring them, and it ended up being like, flies on stink over there. Like, a lot of people were over just checking them out, and I met this little boy, and his name is Sam, and he's a great kid. He's a local kid, and he's 11 years old, and he pulls a garden tractor, and we just hit it off, and we are super tight. I talk to his parents all the time, and he comes and helps clean our tractors, once in a while. And this weekend is that tractor show again, so he already offered to come help clean mine, and I'm more than fine with that. And anyway, his parents brought him actually to the Enderly this weekend. So that was such a cool thing for not only him, but myself. That means a lot. And there's a lot of kids out there. I was that kid. I'm still that kid.
Yeah, that stories like that, that's what makes it all worth it.
Absolutely. So
any kind of final thoughts as we bring around this hour and a half that we spent here on this lovely Monday?
I don't know. Like I said, we got 2 weekends, 3 events left, and then we could kind of like take a deep breath and then go farming, and then maybe we can all get together. Well, we'll see each other at the banquet.
Yeah,
and then definitely.
Lindsay, you guys just need to come down and have some fun too.
Oh, I'd love to. In all of our spare time, that would be great.
Yeah, and all your spare time that you have just kicking around.
Yeah, they did move the NTPA banquet, though, to Orlando, Florida, and I am not upset about that, at all.
Yeah, that would be fun.
Little rumors here and there that you guys might actually be starting your season down that way, too.
Well, when you decided to leave us stage right here a little bit ago, Randy and I were just talking about that. We've definitely heard rumor of that. I don't think it's confirmed by any means, but I'm okay with going to Florida.
Yeah, they talk. Maybe
it'll probably be a lot better than the 30 degrees and cold back up here, but no, it's always great seeing the polling expand. And really, one of these years I'd like to go to Florida, either to watch or be a part of it, because it's almost a completely different ball game, running on different tracks with completely different setups, and you're running at sea level.
Yeah, it seems almost sandy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And somebody asked a question again earlier about Zellwood. I personally have never ran there, but like Jeff and Cody Singletary have. I don't know about you, Logan.
No, we've never made the trek to Florida. We've just kind of been settled in here with the Midwest, and we want to click off a few more bucket list destinations for us as we continue to grow our program. So I'm confident. If I don't see you somewhere next year on the circuit, Lindsay, then we're doing something wrong.
Well, we're excited to have you.
So, what, you got anything else there, Lindsay?
I don't think so. I just thank you guys for promoting the sport and doing what you do. I know this takes a lot of time out of your busy schedule, but I appreciate it. I appreciate you bringing me on, and also I'm sure Randy feels the same.
Absolutely.
But yes, it's been great to promote the sport.
That's great.
Yeah, I appreciate both of you guys coming on. It's been a phenomenal show. So if that's it, well then, thank you all for watching. Thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, Randy, for coming on and spending a couple couple minutes with me and I had a great night here, and it's going to be another fun season as we head into this off season and even into 26. So I'm really looking forward to it. So Randy, best of luck on your last couple events. Lindsay, we'll see you around somewhere. And for the rest of y'all, we'll be right back here Monday at 7 p.m. next week. Thank y'all.